That's right, the Rajni effect and plenty more coming up on this unique India Today poll on Tamil Nadu, which we believe will be one of the critical battleground states in the next 12 months. Our methodology, Karvy Research has done 4,758 interviews conducted for this survey over 77 assembly constituencies. That's 33% of the 234 assembly constituencies of Tamil Nadu. Rural-urban divide represented in this poll. January 7 to 12, 2018 were the dates when the survey was conducted. And as I said, this is a survey that will give you a sense as to what is happening in the state with the maximum political churning at the moment. 4,758 people polled, and the survey clearly is coming up with very interesting findings. I want to go to my colleague Rahul, who will tell you what exactly is happening as per the poll if elections are held today in Tamil Nadu. Over to you, Rahul.
Thanks, Rajdeep. Given the huge churn in Tamil Nadu politics and the disillusionment that's creeping in with the functioning of the current DMK government, the big question is, if elections are held today, what would happen? Remember, the India Today Karvy Insights opinion poll is the first poll that scientifically maps the impact that Rajinikanth's entry would have in Tamil Nadu politics. But this poll was done at a time when Rajinikanth had been a Neta only for 2 weeks. So bear that in mind as you see these numbers. This is what the new assembly of Tamil Nadu could look like. We'll deal first with vote share percentages. Karvy projects for India Today that the DMK alliance would bag 34% vote share. The AIA-DMK alliance likely to bag 26% vote share. This is 15% less than the last election, which means that the AIA-DMK votes would halve in comparison with the last polls. Rajinikanth's new party comes in with 16%. Now, this is not what Rajinikanth usually delivers at the box office, but remember, his film hasn't been released in its entirety. He's just announced he's making a political film, and he's already got 16% saying he's their favorite. What would the new assembly look like? How do these votes translate into seats? Let's take a quick look at that. India Today and Karvy went out and asked people who would they vote for. And when we translated the vote share percentages we picked up into seats, we found that just at this time, the DMK is in pole position to form the next government in Tamil Nadu. The Stalin-led DMK expected to bag 130 seats. That's 32 seats more than the last elections. AIA-DMK crashing to 68, which is half the number of seats the party won in the previous assembly elections. Rajinikanth's new party picking up 33 seats. Now that's a fair number given that the poll started when Rajinikanth had been in politics for 1 week and was completed when he'd been in politics for 2 weeks. So, given that people hardly had their time to see Rajinikanth's policies, what he stood for, 33 seats is not a bad beginning. Others expected to pick up 3. Let's now come to the question of who is the favorite candidate to be Chief Minister. Now, on this question, and it's interesting to map how Rajinikanth does vis-a-vis O Paneerselvam, Palani Sami and Stalin. So we'll take it up here. The favorite candidate to be Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister by a long margin is Karunanidhi's heir apparent MK Stalin. 50% of the respondents in the India Today Karvy poll said they wanted Stalin to be the next Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. Rajinikanth, interestingly, within a week of his political debut, comes in at number 2. 17% want Rajinikanth to be the state's next Chief Minister. There's trouble after that because O Paneerselvam, despite the fact that he's not Chief Minister, actually has more than double the popularity of Palani Sami. 11% want Paneerselvam as Chief Minister, only 5% want Palani Sami as Chief Minister, and that really is a problem. Then there is Kamal Haasan. Kamal Haasan coming in at 4%, but remember, this is a time when Kamal Haasan hasn't fully explained what kind of politics he intends to do and when he intends to join politics. TTV Dinakaran coming in at 3%. So Rajdeep, it's very interesting that 50% of the respondents want Stalin. Would you consider this a bumper opening like a box office hit, or do you think that given this is Rajinikanth we're talking about, 33 seats and 16% vote share is not good enough?
Well, that's the question that we're going to answer. Has Rajinikanth scored a big political hit or not in his first day, first show? The first poll that has truly assessed Rajinikanth's popularity in Tamil Nadu politics. Raj Chengappa, editorial director, India Today, with me. Also with me, Dikshit Channa, the vice president of Karvy, which has done the poll. Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, knows Tamil Nadu inside out. Also joining me at the moment from Chennai, TKS Ilangovan, MP DMK, VA Pudugendi, MLA AIDMK, Narayan Tirupati, spokesperson of the BJP, TS Sudhir, is joining me from Hyderabad. RK Radhakrishnan and Narayan Lakshman, senior journalists, both with the Hindu, are joining me from Chennai. TM Veera Raghav, who's tracked Tamil Nadu for years, joined me from Bangalore. Durgesh Haridos, Rajinikanth fan from Chennai. Sumant Raman, political analyst, joining me also from Chennai. And I'm going to come to each of you to answer that big question that has been posed at the moment. First day, first show, is this a hit or not? Raj, you first.
Impressive debut, no doubt about it. 16% of the votes when his compatriot in the previous polls, Vijaykanth, got only 10%. So I would give him full marks for that. Yet, the potential is not fully, he hasn't really formed a party in that sense that the cadres are there. Barring the fact that he's just announced, that he's going to have spiritual politics, we're not very clear what his agenda is going to be. Tamil Nadu has got lots and lots of problems. Corruption is the #1 issue that is there. Agrarian distress. Will Rajinikanth be able to present himself as someone who could administer the state? That is to be seen, but a good beginning for him.
Good beginning. Your first reaction, Shekhar Iyer.
I think this largely reflects the ground mood in Tamil Nadu. There is a lot of excitement after Rajinikanth announced his debut, but people are not clear about what he stands for, what is his organization like, who are his political opponents, who are his political supporters. So that confusion largely reflects on your overall picture of the opinion poll.
Okay. Ms. Channa, when was the last time you did a poll which showed someone who just made his debut only 2 weeks ago, hasn't announced his party, hasn't announced his agenda, already is in double digits?
We haven't seen something like this for a long, long time. And what this poll shows is shows that Rajinikanth can be a game changer.
Rajinikanth can be a game changer. The potential is there. Veera Raghav, joining me from Bangalore. Is he the game changer, or is this poll still showing that Rajinikanth is work in progress? That we cannot at the moment say that he will create a super hit in politics like he did in film after film.
In your cricketing terms, Rajdeep, I think your poll shows that it's a nice Rajini flick which hasn't reached the boundary as yet. He needs more power. He needs something plus that. And that is what we will be looking at. I think Tamil Nadu will be looking at on what he offers as a Rajini plus. He needs much more power because the first week, as you're saying, is also the most popular week for Rajinikanth. It's a star entry. It stunned people. This is the time when his popularity is at its peak.
Sumant Raman, your first reactions to our poll number showing Rajinikanth making a strong debut, but the DMK being in pole position. Narayan Lakshman, your first reactions to this. Narayan, your first reactions, and then Radhakrishnan. What does this show? Is Tamil Nadu ready for change, or is it continuity with change? Yes, many Tamilians are looking at Rajinikanth with excitement, but they are still sticking by the DMK.
Yeah, absolutely, Rajdeep. I do think that, on the one hand, the fact that Rajinikanth got 17%, it indicates Tamil Nadu sort of the electorate's open attitude towards allowing newcomers, even when they have this outsider tag, to enter and, throw their hat in the ring and give it a try. At the same time, the rather startling, margin between him and MK Stalin really suggests that the people are sick and tired of someone who is, or rather multiple people who have been unable to govern. Governance is the G word in Tamil Nadu now, and people want someone, and MK Stalin fits that profile most closely, someone who is an insider, who has the street cred to actually govern and pull the state together through all the multitude of problems that it's facing at this moment, which it has been facing for many months now.
Let me turn to Radhakrishnan. Same question. Rajinikanth making an impressive debut, but the DMK, the party of preference, what does that show? Is Rajinikanth, like a good film, going to grow week after week? Do you see this only as the beginning?
As both of you have told us in the beginning of the show, the poll was conducted just after a week after Rajini got into politics and concluded 2 weeks after it was over. So it clearly shows that there is a huge space for opposition politics in Tamil Nadu. A lot of people do not like the DMK, and they were with the ADMK for long periods of time. Now some of them have drifted towards towards Rajinikanth or anybody that they think will be a viable alternative to the DMK, and hence the results and hence this problem that we see.
Okay, Elan Govan, you are the one who can have the smile before I go to TS. Before I come to you, sir, I want to go to TS Sudhir to get a final response from our independent analysts on this show. TS, your first reactions to what you're seeing. Do you believe this is only the start of Rajni mania? Will he be like NTR in your home state at the moment of Andhra Pradesh, who created a storm in 6 months, won an election? Or will Rajinikanth require more time?
Well, he definitely has the chance to become a game changer, Rajdeep, for sure, Rajinikanth, given the fact that his first day, for sure, rather, it's something like a teaser to his new movie or his new political innings in that sense. And that has scored as, to say something like 16 million hits in the first day itself. So in that sense, he has a scope to be a game changer, but more than a political vacuum that he's hoping to take advantage of, it's a personality vacuum. And Rajinikanth, given the kind of tall personality he is, he's definitely has the chance to be a huge political personality as well in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
The question, Mr. Elangovan, is that do you now see Rajinikanth as the big threat to your party, given the fact that within 2 weeks of his entry, he's already got 16% vote share, while Stalin in this poll is way ahead? It seems that the threat increasingly could be posed by Rajinikanth's party, not so much by the EPS-OPS combine.
See, this shows the failure of EPS and OPS. The DMK is there even during the large polls. The difference between the ruling front and when Jayalaithaa was alive and leading the party, the difference was a mere 1%. Now that it has increased because of the failure of the incumbent government, so people are not happy with the incumbent party, so they want to shift their loyalty to Rajinikanth. We are in the same position with a better performance. The shift from ADMK, that is without Jayalaithaa, to Rajinikanth is a natural thing.
Are you scared of Rajinikanth or not, Elan Govan? Let's be honest.
No,
Does he frighten you? The popularity of Rajinikanth, somewhere is it frightening you or not?
We have seen, we are the oldest regional party in the state, I can say in South India. Since 1949, we have been seeing many political parties coming up. We have not been afraid of any political party.
Mr. Elangovan, are you a Rajinikanth fan?
Including
Is Stalin a Rajinikanth fan?
A political party.
Is Stalin a Rajinikanth fan?
Yeah, I am also a Rajinikanth fan. That doesn't mean that I will shift my political loyalty to Rajinikanth.
No, but we saw what happened with NTR in Andhra Pradesh, where within a few months of his party getting off the ground, he was able to build a huge amount of traction. And arguably Rajinikanth today is a bigger star than MGR or Jayalaithaa. They didn't have the kind of, they had a political backing which Rajinikanth did, but in terms of stature, in a state where most people in our poll say they want a film star in politics, they're not averse to that. Is that a big threat to your party going forward?
No, see, MGR's politics, when MGR split the DMK, almost all MGR fans were in DMK. But Rajinikanth's fans were all in many political parties. That is the difference between MGR and Rajinikanth. All MGR fans were members of DMK. When DMK split, MGR took away half of our membership. Whereas Rajinikanth has to collect members from various political parties in the state.
That's a good point. That's a good point you made. Good point. Durgesh Haridas, you're a Rajinikanth fan. It's one thing to have fan clubs. To translate them into votes is proving a challenge. As our poll is showing, it is at the moment the DMK in pole position. Most of the votes that Rajinikanth is taking from the AIDMK, which at the moment is imploding. Why will fans necessarily vote for you?
No, as Mr. Ilangovan pointed out that, there are, everyone knows that there are over 50,000 fan clubs for Rajinikanth in India alone, in Chennai and Tamil Nadu alone. And there are members of those fan clubs are from various political parties. So they will soon take a decision whether they have to change their political leaning, or will they follow their on-screen star into politics, or will they remain with the parties that they are, they've traditionally been with. So it's advantage Rajinikanth, in my opinion, because he has a larger bag to choose from. I mean, he has, as Mr. Ilangovan said, there are fans who are from various political parties, unlike just the ADMK and DMK, which MGR had back, in history.
Yeah, but what is very clear at the moment is the national parties in Tamil Nadu are just where they are. Whatever else has been churning in Tamil Nadu, the Congress and the BJP, Congress relying on being part of the DMK alliance, the BJP on the other hand, Mr. Narayan Tirupati has a dilemma, because for the BJP, do you tie up now with the Rajinikanth or do you go with the DMK? The DMK is looking as the winner in Tamil Nadu if elections are held today, but Rajinikanth is the rising star. Who do you want to go with, the rising star or the established actor? Or the established party, of course, in this case?
We have, in Tamil Nadu, we have been fighting both the DMK and AIDMK right from the day one, except for a few years. In 2001 to 2006, even 2004, we aligned with DMK and we had around 5 MLAs. That is the only stage or only years we were with these Dravidian parties. Otherwise, we are opposing them. There is a very big vacuum in Tamil Nadu now. That is why on immediate arrival, Rajinikanth, if it is right, as per your this survey, he has got 16%. I am very sure that Mr. Rajinikanth's policies and his way of the road which he is leading to is in our way, and definitely without Rajinikanth joining a political infrastructure, political influence, it is very difficult for him to counter these both political parties, whether DMK or AIDMK, because of their money power and muscle power. Definitely, Mr. Rajinikanth knows this. The entire Tamil Nadu knows this. So, definitely, he has to go with some alliance, and maybe
so who is that
with BJP.
Who is that ally going to be? 1 minute, sir.
Maybe.
Mr. Narayan Tirupati, 1 minute. Who is that ally going to be is one of the fascinating questions. If Rajinikanth has to tie up, because it is clear on his own he's making an impressive debut, but like in Tamil Nadu politics, you often need allies to really grow. Rahul, you have an interesting insight as to a potential ally that Rajinikanth could have to make the great leap forward, and it's not the DMK.
Okay, so now let's look at whether Rajinikanth's political innings can be a multi-starrer. Can he and Kamal Haasan come together? Do voters actually want that? So I take that question here. The first question I want to take is, can Kamal Haasan fill the political vacuum in Tamil Nadu? When this question was asked, 26% of the respondents said yes. That's 1/4 of the respondents. Remember, 53% had said yes in the case of Rajinikanth, 26% in the case of Kamal Haasan say yes. 59% of the respondents say no, 15% are don't know, can't say. Let's now come to the next and very important question. Should Kamal Haasan tie up with Rajinikanth? 29% of the respondents are saying yes. 31% of the respondents are saying no, 23% say they should fight each other, 17% are confused. But 29% of the respondents think the two of them should come together. T.S. Sudhir, one is seen as a very cerebral, intellectual actor, the other is the hero of the masses. Can the twain meet? 29% of the people want to make it happen. Can it succeed if it does?
Well, there are many of their fans, both Kamal as well as Rajni fans, who feel that it would be advantageous if the two actually fight together instead of fighting against each other, because they do see the two of them actually emerging as two political players in the 2018 or whenever the elections are held next in Tamil Nadu. So in that sense, there is a section of fans, both Rajni and Kamal fans, who feel that the two should fight together. But whether ideologically the two actually match is going to be the big question, because as Rajni has been saying, his is more the spiritual kind of politics, and Kamal has been wearing his atheism and rationalism on his sleeves. So in that sense, ideologically, poles apart, and whether they can really work together is a big question.
No, but
Kamal
when it comes
also
to
extremely
being
outspoken
poles
with
apart
his views.
ideologically, Rajdeep, does that really mean very much? You've got the PDP in bed with the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir for the sake of power.
See, what is clear, Rahul, in our poll is people are looking at an alternative. People want an alternative, particularly to the AIDMK, which has always had a solid 30% plus vote. Now, if that vote were to go wholesale to some third party, rather than get splintered between various parties, it advantage that third party. So it is in Rajini's interest, perhaps, to actually see Kamal Haasan as a potential ally rather than someone with whom he wants to have a fight. Think about it, just the impact of two stars saying we are the outsiders, these were the two parties that have dominated, give us a chance. You agree with that, Shekhar? It is to to Rajinikanth's advantage today. If he has to tie up, rather than a BJP or any national party, tie up with a Kamal Haasan. Broaden your base amidst those who believe it's time for an outsider.
Well, theoretically it looks
possible.
That's possible. But I think practically Kamal Haasan has his own plans and he has his own ideas. And
so are they ideologically different?
No,
is that the problem?
Yeah, ideologically also different, because Kamal Haasan subscribes to the Periyar concept of rational approach, rationalism. And I don't think he subscribes to any of the Rajinikanth's spiritual politics, quote unquote. So therefore I don't see, but Kamal Haasan is on record to say that he supports the idea of Rajinikanth's entry into politics, and he has all his good wishes.
Veera Raghav, any possibility you see of Kamal Haasan coming together with Rajinikanth, or are we simply speculating at the prospect of a multi-starrer?
I think it's speculation. I think if Kamal Haasan goes in with Rajinikanth, there would be a question raised on whether this is just a cinema political party, whether it is actually a serious political party, because Rajini has a very distinct identity and Kamal has a very distinct identity. Kamal has not been a mass sort of a manipulator that Rajinikanth is. Having said that, Rajdeep, I think a lot depends on what Rajinikanth's political ideology is, how soon the elections are going to be, whether it's 2019 or 2021. And then what kind of candidates that he is going to represent. You see, he's got a platform to start with. He doesn't need Kamal Haasan to build that platform. He needs candidates. He needs politics to build that platform. And I think Tamil Nadu is wary of jitters coming into politics. Sivaji Ganeshan did not make it in politics in Tamil Nadu despite great popularity. MGR did because he had a political plank. You see, you cannot assume that an actor wins Tamil Nadu. You need to have a political platform, a political plank. Rajini's plank right now is the political void in Tamil Nadu, whether it's personality or ideological void. I don't think Stalin has the popularity that his father did. The results in the RK Nagar by-election, where the DMK lost its deposit, is an alarm bell for the DMK. They cannot take this granted as the only major political force in the state. And I think Rajini needs to prove himself as a politician. Everything will depend on that and not on Kamal Haasan.
The interesting thing is when you look at film stars in southern politics, and sitting in Delhi, we sometimes are amazed by their impact. You've had various models. You have the MGR model, and there was an interesting figure just mentioned by Veera Raghav, Sivaji Ganeshan. Great actor, but never succeeded in politics. But you get a sense that Rajinikanth perhaps has the kind of mass following that an NTR has. I come back to it. Can Rajinikanth do what an NTR did? There was no Telugu, there's some base. The party came in 6 months and stormed politics because people were disgusted with the other politics of Andhra Pradesh, particularly the Congress party and the humiliation of the Andhra leaders. Can Rajinikanth be an NTR, or are we simply living in cuckoo land when we compare 2017 to the 1980s? Has the world changed?
Well, I did actually cover NTR when he was there, and the phenomenon that you saw was vastly different. There was Telugu pride being hurt, which he exploited considerably. Secondly, there was no alternative. I mean, Congress was all in all in those days which dominated the political scene. Here you're seeing a difference. There is a political alternative in the DMK, and as the poll shows, they are still very strong. They performed fairly well last time, even when they lost. They have an established leader, Mr. Stalin. And so Rajinikanth is now having to contend with these 2 or 3 things. What he comes with is a certain freshness. I like Shekhar's point about racialism, because who takes the Dravida vacuum that ADMK is...
basically the rationalism point.
And he talked to the fact that what is Rajinikanth's thing? He's also considered to be an outsider in some senses, though many of Tamil Nadu politicians were outsiders before they converted into full-time, Tamilians. But you can see that there is a problem on that front. He has to, as one of the panelists rightly pointed out, does his screen fans translate into political votes or cadres that would be there? I think in an earlier, Rahul had very rightly pointed, he has about 1 crore or so voters already available.
Fans.
With that, fans, sorry. Which you presume would vote for him if it was there. So he does have a certain political base. Does he have the kind of political acumen where he builds the candidates? But he could bring a freshness. That's the difference. Is the state tired of this Dravida politics that has become so corrupt and venal?
Is there a rural-urban divide though? Even in the state politics, is there a rural-urban divide? Durgesh Haridas, presumably your fan club spread across the state. But as we've seen traditionally, DMK has generally done well in urban Tamil Nadu. AIDMK used to be stronger in the rural parts. Now agrarian distress, water problems are hitting rural Tamil Nadu. Can Rajinikanth provide solutions to these problems? Does he believe that he can transfer his cinematic image and say that I am the guy who's going to change Tamil Nadu overnight? MGR could. But MGR had a particular role to play even in cinema that Annadurai gave him. Rajinikanth doesn't have that role. Can Rajinikanth fan clubs in rural Tamil Nadu also be able to galvanize themselves?
See, his fan clubs are slowly becoming people's forums. He's getting more structure into his organization, and he's hearing out his fan clubs, and members are hearing out the problems of people, and they're registering themselves, and everything is being made more streamlined now. It's very early to say that does he have the solutions to all the problems. He still has time, and if he's taken so long to announce his political entry, he would definitely have made all the groundwork that is required to counter these, or at least find solutions to most of the problems that the state or the state faces right now.
Is Rajinikanth then ready? Is he ready to make that jump? Has he actually built an organization? And what is his spiritual politics about? Rahul, you'll tell us some interesting numbers as to this whole notion of spiritual politics.
And we'll also deal with the issue of what people think of the current government. Who is Jayalaitha's true inheritor? Are people satisfied with the current government of OPS and EPS? Those questions and more. If elections are held, what would be the driving issue? And most importantly, what do people think of this whole issue of cash for votes? That and a lot more with Rajdeep and me when we come. Are the key issues for the voters of Tamil Nadu? When Karvy Insights asked respondents across the state of Tamil Nadu, what was the one issue that bothered them most? No surprises, corruption came in right at the top of the stack. At 24%, 1/4 of the respondents saying that corruption for them is the #1 issue of the state. Price rise coming in at 19%, unemployment coming in at 15%, failure of agriculture, and remember farmers have been protesting in Tamil Nadu and in Delhi, but that's only 6% of the respondents saying that that's their #1 issue. Lack of governance is 6%. Corruption, far and away the top issue in Tamil Nadu. What do people think of the performance of the current Palani Sami government? When asked this question, take a look at the responses, and this really should set off alarm bells in the AIADMK. Only 1% think Palani Sami's been outstanding, 7% think the performance been good, 25% think it's been average, 31% say poor, 33% say very poor, which means 64% of the respondents, that's almost 2 out of 3 respondents in our poll, think that this government has either been poor or very poor. Rajdeep, that electorally is a red flag.
Absolutely, and I think that's very clear that more than 13 months after Jayalaithaa passed away, the AIDMK has imploded. There is no one who offers that kind of, either has the stature of Jayalaithaa, and importantly, all of them today are tarred either by the brush of corruption and non-governance. Jayalaithaa faced the corruption charges, but she was seen as an effective government administrator. The new leadership is not seen as that, and that's where I believe, Sumant Raman, would it be right to say that Tamil Nadu today is facing a gaping political vacuum, and it's into that vacuum that the likes of Rajinikanth and to a lesser extent Kamal Haasan are stepping in, or that Stalin has suddenly become larger than life because the DMK has got oxygen with the failure of the AIDMK?
Look, Rajdeep, I have consistently maintained that this political vacuum is the single biggest reason why Mr. Rajinikanth and even Mr. Kamal Haasan are actually even, contemplated this entry into politics. Having said that, I saw some of the numbers which came earlier, and if I were Mr. Rajinikanth watching this program, I'd be very satisfied. 2 weeks' time, effectively since the man has entered politics, he hasn't announced the name of the party, he hasn't announced his ideology, he hasn't announced his programs, and all he said is we need to change the system, and he's getting 16%. Mind you, 16% is more than the vote share of the Congress, the BJP, the CPI, the CPM, the PMK, MDMK, and virtually every other party except the big two, and he's getting just 10% behind the ruling AIDMK, which I think is very satisfactory. The state, I believe that the next election is Mr. Rajinikanth's to lose. If he puts together a cogent policy, if he puts together a good team, this 16% can become 32% in no time at all. The reason why many people have probably hesitated in voting for him or in this poll is because people are waiting to see what he's going to say. I mean, he said we need to change the system. He said we need clean politics. Very good. How are you going to give it to us? So that's what people are waiting for the answer. And if he can actually present a good plan and a good team, it's in the bag. The point is whether he will do that, how soon will he be able to do that? That is the key to this whole, how the story is going to unfold.
You had about 3 ifs in that. And N. Ram is also going to be joining us shortly from the former editor-in-chief of The Hindu. But I think in that what Sumant Raman said possibly holds the key to the future. Can Rajinikanth now build on the popularity by showing the people of Tamil Nadu, yes, I can administer, yes, I can build a team, or is that not even needed? Does a film star need to give more than just his film star charisma? What do you think, Shekhar? Does he need a bit more or not?
Of course, he needs a lot more, because the first thing, even his fans association will have to be fully, empowered and given some oxygen. The fact that he announced he'll be visiting all the districts is a way of trying to create an organization, because these fan associations have
You don't think he can just, given the numbers that Rahul has put up, people are saying corruption is the major issue. He simply goes and says, look, I am going to provide clean, i.e. spiritual politics. What he means by spiritual politics, we don't know. But if it is to mean clean politics, he can contrast himself with the existing politics and say, look, I will provide you decent governance. People will believe him.
Now, people will believe him, but what will happen is, more than the people, he will attract those disgruntled cadres of ADMK and AIDMK who are unhappy with the present state.
What about the common man? N. Ram joining us now. N. Ram, do you believe, as our poll and Sumant Raman suggests, that this poll shows Rajinikanth has a real opportunity to break the duopoly of the AIDMK and DMK in Tamil Nadu politics? Do you believe that that could happen? That people are so disgusted with the existing politics that say, let's try Rajinikanth even though he's a novice?
I don't think he can.
Mr. Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rajdeep. Yes.
My big question is, our poll seems to be suggesting a disgust with the existing politics of Tamil Nadu, issues like corruption becoming the #1 issue. Do you believe Rajinikanth can fill the vacuum as a result of this disgust with the duopoly of the DMK and the AIDMK, particularly the AIDMK?
Yeah, I think your poll shows what we are expecting, that corruption is a huge issue. But I agree that it's the DMK that will gain the most, the alliance led by the DMK rather. But Rajinikanth, according to your poll, gets a significant share, and that's not surprising. Whether it'll be 16% or slightly less or more, we don't know, because there's still a lot of time to go. But that makes sense. He will be able to cash in on the decline of the ruling party.
Do you see the Rajinikanth bandwagon gather momentum as the months roll on, or do you think he will not be able to sustain himself as a politician and his charisma will fade away?
I think much depends on whether he invests in an organization, and that's going to be the challenge for Rajinikanth, because Tamil Nadu elections, as you know, are hugely expensive. voters, there's vote buying in many constituencies, if not in every one of them. And it's not clear who's going to finance Rajinikanth's campaign. He's not even named his party. So I think he's got, of course, he's got his fan clubs or fan units, which can be converted to a certain extent. And, this is about
so he mentions cash for votes. Can we take that question now?
Yes.
When we asked respondents, not just in RK Nagar, but across the state, do parties pay cash for votes? This is the very startling answer we found. It's been suggested that it happens, but 72% of the respondents said yes. In no other question was the response quite as overwhelming. And I'm saying this again, in no other question in our poll was the response as overwhelming as on the question of parties paying
and
cash
you probably,
for votes.
Rahul, will not find this in any other state, where 72% will openly say, yes, we take. Because when you pay, that means you're taking also. You're taking cash for votes.
It was a simple yes and no question.
And so 72%, if they are saying that, means that money power will play an important role. This is the T.S. Sudhir. Do you believe that this, at the end of the day, that Rajinikanth popularity, one thing, but particularly in parts of Tamil Nadu, you also need big amounts of cash. And Rajinikanth will have to therefore get cash from somewhere to compete with the parties which have traditionally used these methods, and TTV Dinakaran, someone whom we've spoken very little about, but as some people are saying, he could emerge as the leader of the AIDMK tomorrow, and he has the cash reserves.
Absolutely. In fact, I find this very contradictory, Rajdeep, because you said more than 20% people said corruption is the big issue in Tamil Nadu. Yet 72% said that yes, they take cash, and cash for votes is a reality in Tamil Nadu. So the kind of socialist corruption that the political parties in Tamil Nadu have actually ushered in over the years actually does play a role in electoral politics. In fact, the DMK, after they lost the RK Nagar election where they lost the deposit, they said that we lost because one of the reasons was because we did not give any money. Now, where will you find a political party actually saying that that was not paying money to buy votes was a factor why they lost the elections and lost the elections so badly? So in that sense, Tamil Nadu, I do believe that people do take votes, to take money for casting their vote, and where Rajinikanth will actually get the money to actually fund his elections and the political party that he plans to launch is going to be a critical question. Will he actually say, I'm not going to pay any money for any vote? Will people still come and vote for him?
Okay, so let's go across now to V.A. Pugazendi, MLA of the AIADMK. I want to understand, because you can argue whether Rajinikanth's bandwagon will gather momentum or will he lose steam, but one thing seems very clear is that the EPS-OPS government, according to the people of the state of Tamil Nadu, is a disaster. 2/3 of the respondents think the performance of your current AIADMK government after Jayalaitha's demise has been poor. That's a very damning finding from this survey, sir.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I am the General Secretary, our beloved leader, Sasikala and TTV Dinakaran faction. Then totally the EPS, OPS have the all support from the public. So public totally upset which way the government performance and everything. I am observing the debate. I am asking one question, that the best opportunity this RK Nagar by-election. I am asking the question, why this superstar Rajinikanth and Kamal Haasan not contested the election, you tell me? That always
no, but that's an immaterial question.
That's because they didn't want to pay cash like you did. The bottom line in RK Nagar, quite apart from anything else, is that you were paying a lot of cash. TTV Dinakaran has more money at the moment than anyone else. That's the truth.
The kind information, we have not paid any money or something, sir. This is the rumor going on. But
no, our investigation found 6,000 rupees from the TTV faction, 2,000 rupees from the AIADMK faction, and you were paying 3 times more.
No, this complaint is actually somewhere after the election, some people that spreaded the rumor, 20 rupees note given, the half of the cut note, then promised to give the money or something. Am I correct or not? That the already ruling party paid 6,000 rupees each voter. That is the main complaint. I am not denying here, but 20 rupees all bullshitted. After the election, who will pay the money?
No, let's get it clear. Veera Raghav, you are hearing from the TTV Dinakaran faction that we didn't pay money for RK Nagar. No one's going to believe that. But is money power going to be a factor? Rajinikanth charisma, corruption being seen to be
I think
endemic
money
in
power
Tamil
is
Nadu. Do you see Rajinikanth also having to play the same kind of politics as the others? Can he really be that different? What is this spiritual politics he keeps talking about?
You know, two things here. One, the reason why money power is powerful in Tamil Nadu is because of the ideological bankruptcy of both the parties. You've had a disillusionment with the DMK-ADMK battle, and money power changes it. DMK was the one which started it. I think people will laugh if at Mr. Pugarende if he were to reiterate to them that they didn't pay money. Now, the second thing, spiritual politics, he's talking about a clean politics. Now, I don't think he has really had a formation, a concrete idea that he's put in front of the people. If I can put it in film parlance, he's delivered his punch dialogue. But a lot of Rajinikanth films, and this is not 96 or the 90s where anything he puts out can become a hit. A lot of Rajinikanth films are also about who the good script writer is. Does he have a good political script writer? Certainly he needs a producer. He needs a producer, he needs a financier who is going to have to build that organization, and that's going to be an uphill task. What we're saying here is that there is a platform. Is he able to build it? Can he find
the one thing that could happen as a consequence of our poll is that the TTV Dinakaran faction can say OPS and EPS are simply not up to it. We're the ones who won in RK Nagar. Can TTV then try and mount a coup and push EPS, OPS out?
Before I come to you, Raj, just very quickly, Sumant Raman, on that very question. You know, there's a sense in this poll that the AIDMK now may want to come together. They are facing a huge challenge, a crisis of their identity, a crisis of existence. Do you see the AIDMK getting its act together, or is that story over?
No, I think, see, they have a potential opportunity in the merely because they are in power. I mean, they have the opportunity to make it count by delivering good governance. Now, unfortunately, why this has been restricted to just, you know, still doling out, distributing largesse is something which is very, very unfortunate. We haven't seen significant development programs. I'll give you a few simple examples. The airport for the city of Chennai has been long delayed. The government has not even identified the land. All India Institute of Medical Sciences was supposed to be put up. I can give you a list of 20 other things which they should have done, which they have not done. But there is clearly a kind of a paralysis of governance. So that's going to be very difficult to salvage unless they get their act together. Having said that, two interesting findings, Rajdeep. The poll which said that, you know, corruption is the #1 issue. I have followed such polls in Tamil Nadu for many years. Always it is price rise, unemployment which will occupy the first two slots. Corruption will be 4 or 5. Considering that this is a society which by and large doesn't seem to have any qualms in taking cash and voting. So corruption coming up there to me is a huge surprise. Again, the point is, as far as Mr. Rajinikanth is concerned, the organization base that he needs to create, the team, again we go back to the same thing. Even more than money, there is a huge set of youth, those between 18 and 30 who are desperate for a change.
Right, that is, we will come back
to the DMK.
Sumant, I'm going to hold you because we will come back to those questions. Is there a youth factor that Rajinikanth could attract? But you wanted to make a quick last point, Raj, on this.
You know, just talking about the ADMK, one of the things that will hold it together in the coming months or so is the need to stay in power. They know that if they squabble now, they're going to lose. So, I mean, they have to get their act together. The poll also gives them a huge warning. There is a lot of despair that is there. It's a state of despair. They have to come together to sort of clear up everything.
Even if they come together, they cannot be Jayalaithaa. Palani, Sami, O Paneerselvam or TTV Dinakaran cannot occupy Jayalalitha's place.
I'm just making another point on this. The fact that the state of affairs has got so bad, if you really look at it, it looks like Stalin has got a great boost in this poll.
Yes.
But he has really not been able to capitalize it as much as he should. Because if you take away the Congress votes that is there, he is down to about 110 seats if you go by the percentages that we are calculating at. Which means that despite such a state of disrepair that the ADMK is, Stalin is not emerging as the clear winner. And Rajinikanth times his entry so well, because if he'd allowed TTV, as the post results of RK Nagar happens, TTV emerges as the hero, TTV could have captured the ADMK because they now see him as the new messiah of whatever it is. Rajinikanth comes in and they've got a great political alternative.
Okay, so what we'll do now is take a very quick break. We'll come back with the best snapshots from the India Today opinion poll for Tamil Nadu. This is the first time an opinion poll has come since the time superstar Rajinikanth announced his entry into politics. We'll bring you deep insights on this opinion poll when we come back on the other side of a quick break. Stay with us.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.